Hello, everybody. This is out of character for the show, but we need to settle on the bench for just a second to talk about the sponsor of today's show, Knack. Do you carry around a lot in your backpack, like how LeBron James had to carry the Cleveland Cavaliers to 4 straight NBA Finals appearances? Does your messy and disorganized backpack make you want to pull a Bobby Knight and throw a chair across the room? Well, with Knack bags, you can look that frustrating straight in the face and tell it, you're out of here!
Knack bags are a combination of your everyday backpack, a travel backpack, and a laptop bag. You have several pockets around the bag, plus a patent-pending hidden expandable carry-on bag that will help you keep everything you're carrying around organized. Pockets on pockets like Patrick Mahomes picks up passing yard after passing yard. Plus, the interior is as padded as a lineman, allowing you to keep all of your electronics safe and sound. The best part, you don't have to look like the student athlete that just came out of a 3-hour lecture class. No matter the need for your bag, Knack fits your lifestyle. Its look is sleek, organized, professional, and stylish, allowing you to look your best while you work your best.
And right now, if you head to knackbags.com for a limited time, use the promo code BENCH with your next order to get a free TSA-approved lock with purchase. Make sure to add the TSA lock to your cart with your Knack bag of choice and use the code BENCH at checkout to get it for free. Knack, the one-bag life.
This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
Undisputed heavyweight champion of the world who has done some dangerous shit and bitten off Evander Holyfield's ear. A man who once said on national television that he would eat somebody's children.
Nick Morgeson.
You're never going to have what they call the full all-star team in the NFL because they actually do something which I think is smart, which is to spread the players around the NFL because of the cap.
And Nick Federa.
Somebody mark this down. Day and date and timestamp it. That is the moment where Nick Morgeson was forced to defend Roger Goodell.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Yes, but there are ways to do that that don't involve figuratively sticking your genitals into a ceiling fan.
This episode is going to be very vulgar.
I knew that was going to make the intro.
If you have children around, please earmuff them for over an hour.
Earmuffs.
Guide them towards the exits, please. That's
Okay.
Tom Albano. That's Nick Morgeson. I'm Nick Federa. Welcome to Empty the Bench. Oh, God.
This is crazy.
All right, so we have quite a bit to talk about. We have quite a bit, of course, in the football world. It's draft weekend. The draft is finally reaching its conclusion. We've got some NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs to talk about, a bunch of previews and those spectrums. And we do have some baseball to talk about, but everything is topped by a very big baseball story, a story that broke actually almost exactly 24 hours ago as of this moment. Trevor Bauer has been announced as having been suspended for 2 years by Major League Baseball. He is expected to appeal. The suspension is not quite official just yet. However, Major League Baseball has dropped the ban hammer on him, and it is over 300. It's about over 350 games. It is the
324. 324.
324. It is the longest suspension games-wise for any player in the history of Major League Baseball that hasn't received a lifetime banishment.
Wait a minute. I can actually use this?
FBI, open up!
I mean, they cleared him of that, but I mean, this makes A-Rod's biogenesis, suspension look. It makes it look like a Sunday jaunt.
Well, we talked about this, where the whole A-Rod situation, was he going to sue Major League Baseball? Was he going to sue the MLBPA? Which he ended up suing the MLBPA but then he finally realized that he couldn't win. This is a whole different situation.
Well, Trevor Bauer, originally the plan for this week was Bauer was going to be talked about, but it was more going to be talked about that he is suing that woman who is accusing him of sexual assault.
Well, wait a minute. Rob Manfred actually had balls. We learned.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. Of course, the buck stops with him, but again, I think this is really an instance of the system working the way it's supposed to, and this is the first such suspension under their new domestic violence and child abuse policy.
No, it's not. Oh, but I thought you were going to talk about like the Chapmans.
No, the first under their
the joint policy.
Yeah, the joint agreement.
Oh, okay, got it.
The shiny new version. It's Domestic Violence Prevention 2.0, and this is again. It's a good system if again you only have the courage to use it, and somehow they used it. So hats off to them.
Well, and I should add, by the way, for a clarification, his time spent on the administrative list since August
99 days.
They will not count towards
Again.
the
It will
suspension.
not
And
count.
you know what? And you know what? That serves him right because of the way that he's been acting during this whole situation. We're going to talk about this. We have a guest here, which we're going to get to in a minute or two, who really understands this stuff very well and does a baseball show. So I thought it was accurate. And I feel like, and we're going to go through the tweets. Could somebody tell Trevor Bauer, maybe his lawyer, maybe his agent, shut up, please? You're ruining your reputation.
Well, when his
reputation?
agent is encouraging him, I mean, it's like, what can you do?
Wait, are you saying that Trevor Bauer basically gets off on like horrible attention?
I mean,
Where have you been?
No, I'm just saying.
At this point, I mean, we've talked about this since for almost a year now. We talked about it with Michael Duarte from NBC News. It's a great interview, and it's actually eerily prescient.
And by the way, that interview, I think Duarte nailed every part of that story to a T.
Except this, he didn't think. I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting.
Let's be real. Let's be real, guys. This is a suspension for this. It doesn't just, and the low expectations. That's not a Major League Baseball thing. That's all of sports. No one has really had the balls to drop a ban hammer for something domestic related.
Well, I would say the NBA did with the whole Donald Sterling situation.
That's different. That's use of racial. That's use of racial derogatory terms.
But I'm saying that Rob, and I think Hank would agree with us when he comes on with us in a minute, that this whole situation is just Rob finally waking up and saying, "Oh, the reputation of baseball is being dragged in the mud," like you said, Tom. Like we need to do something, or else we're going to get even more thrown in the mud. Why don't we just bring Hank in now? Let's bring him in.
Yeah,
there we go. Hank and Dichter hitting for the cycle. Where's that banner? Just so I can. Okay. Thursdays at 7 p.m. on Review and Preview Network. Hank, thanks for joining us.
Hey, you should also plug Game On, which I'm also part of with Johnny. Tuesdays at 3 here on the Empty the Bench Network.
So, Hank, right off the bat, what was your reaction to this whole thing?
My first reaction was, yes, thank God, serves you right. Goodbye, see you never.
I mean, it's pretty obvious he's not going to throw a pitch for the Dodgers again, right?
Forget the Dodgers. He's not going to throw a pitch for any major league team again.
Yeah, I think his career is done at this
You really
point.
think he's not going to attempt a comeback in like 2 years' time?
Nick, his career is probably so far done to the point that no one's going to want to touch him due to reputation.
And if somebody does, it's going to be an independent baseball team.
You mean the Ducks?
It's going to be the Ducks or the Ferry Hawks.
Or maybe the Sugarland Skeeters, which, if I'm not mistaken, was the team that Roger Clemens pitched for at age 50.
Yeah, too.
Yeah, but that's a publicity stunt. This would be like self-flagellation. It's like if you hate your own franchise, you definitely want that to happen. But I mean, it comes down to it, ladies and gentlemen. You don't put your hands on a woman.
Never.
We shouldn't have to say these things, but it bears repeating because it seems to be muddled through all this mess. It's like through the he said, she said, you arrive at this immutable principle. You do not choke a woman until unconsciousness. Whether she told her to choke you, I'm pretty sure she didn't say, choke me until I pass out.
Yeah, that's not an area I want to dive into. It's kind of weird that we have to, over the course, dive into this kind of area. Actually, Nick, if you actually go back to our interview with Michael Duarte, Nick and I, we didn't even realize that in California, the consent laws are very different over there.
Yes, they are.
Which is part of why this whole situation has been this gray, muddled mess too.
And that's what makes no sense here with the whole consent law. And you guys got it. He really described it. Michael Duarte, go check him out NBC LA. He really broke down the consent laws, which I had no idea were much different from.
If I remember, the difference is in California, if you go unconscious, that that's not enough for consenting being taken away.
If you are unconscious, you technically cannot consent. So therefore,
no, you can't.
we
I say
find
no, you
ourselves in
can't.
the
You don't
situation we
lose
find
the
ourselves in.
consent. You mean?
You don't lose the consent, right? So I don't know. Just Hank, what do you make of him going out on the tirade, on the defense, so to speak?
So
I mean, you guys pretty much said it best. He's pouring gasoline on a fire. Like, he's already making himself look even worse than he already is. And somebody should have told that idiot, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will hurt you in court of law.
Now on that note, we should clarify. The police department have decided they would not. They decided this a couple of months ago. They would not pursue any criminal charges. The court, even before then, the court had refused to give the woman who was making the accusation that Trevor Bauer is now suing. They refused to give her a restraining order. So everything court system wise has gone Trevor Bauer's way. But the difference is, and even Duarte even kind of referenced this is a Major League Baseball investigation. And for when a league is investigating, it does not just revolve around a criminal suit or a civil suit. It also revolves around, as we mentioned, the damage done to the sport, the situation as a whole, the fact that he even is involved in this mess because, again, he put his hands on a woman, consent or not.
I mean, I'm going to steal a reference from Game On because we've done this over here. I'm going to steal this because it took this long. It took this long for Rob Manfred. This should have been done, not missing 99 games, which everyone is for some reason bringing up that number that he's missed 99 games.
Because they think it could count towards his suspension, which it's not going to.
That's the surprising bit.
First of all, Trevor Bauer doesn't deserve any benefit of the doubt. The way he's handled himself his whole career, nothing.
Well, Nick, to go off of Nick Federa's point, if you remember, was it Ozuna's suspension where it was retroactive?
20 games.
So he could come back right away at that point. So the expectation was they were going to pull some strings.
And maybe do like 140 game suspension, and then he'd only have to
do some weird walk around.
Yeah.
But I'll ask Hank. So he's appealing the suspension, and we all know what happens in any sport when you appeal a suspension. You're going to get games knocked off it because that's just how leagues work. In theory, Hank, where do you think this drops to? Because that's where we're pretty much at this point.
I think it's probably only going to be a marginal drop because, let's face it, at the end of the day, guilty, innocent, or not, nobody's defending this guy. What does that tell you?
Well, that was going to be my next question here. If you guys remember 2014, if you remember biogenesis with A-Rod, he actually sued the MLBPA because the MLBPA essentially... Now, the role of the MLBPA is to fight for the players. Defend the players. I mean, and sometimes that can delve into controversy. If you remember, they defended technically the Houston Astros when they had the cheating scandal. So controversy or not, they have to defend the players. A-Rod was one where they were on icy water. And now, could we see the same pretty much ring true here with Trevor Bauer? I have to assume it's going to, because what A-Rod did was an on-the-field measure. It was very bad, but it was an on-the-field measure. Here, this goes past the field.
This goes past that. And it really does seem like you're not seeing any of his former teammates defend him.
Yeah, but
as far as I know.
No, if I'm the Dodgers, I'm celebrating this because as long as this suspension goes past 2023,
it's over.
They're off the books, essentially. They don't have to pay him another dollar. Now, when it comes to the roster moves, I mean, they might be a little screwed there, but
the one difference, and I brought this up to the guys, and Hank, I'll ask you this too, the difference between the A-Rod situation and this one is the reason why MLB and the MLBPA was afraid to work with A-Rod is because A-Rod sued them to the Stone Age, and that was a whole different situation. Trevor Bauer is not, for the time being, not suing MLBPA, so I guess in essence, by law, they technically have to defend Bauer from an MLB.
Now that's going to be the next question: is Bauer going to end up suing? Could we see it?
Would not put it past him.
Neither would I.
Yeah, I would.
Knowing his personality and knowing how outspoken and opinionated that man is, I would actually argue that it's probably going to be inevitable that he ends up suing him.
You know what? It's not even necessarily that he's outspoken, because outspokenness can mean many different things. What this is I'm right and everybody else is wrong. It's the inflated sense of superiority here, and you can only step on so many people's toes before you start to realize that nobody's got your back when the shit hits the fan.
Yep.
Nick, I think you hit your mute button.
Yeah.
Sorry. But does anyone want to hear from Trevor Bauer? Because this whole thing is nuts. Like,
Okay, let him squawk.
Oh, the defense, which he's reading in a video because he had already tweeted it out, but this is essentially too long, didn't read.
yeah. All right. So let's take a little listen here because this is just bizarre.
I know many of you don't want to read everything that I just tweeted, so I'm going to read it for you so you can just listen to it and make it easier. I'm addressing the story in the Washington Post. First, they opted not to include the full statements provided by my representatives. I wonder why. Here's the one they redacted. Statement from Mr. Bauer's representatives. Mr. Bauer unequivocally denies the false and defamatory allegations made in the Washington Post. Throughout our interactions, Gus Garcia-Roberts has continued to ignore and failed to thoroughly investigate any information contrary to his intended narrative. As it relates to the Columbus woman, we had a casual and wholly consensual sexual relationship from 2013 to 2018 that began during my time with AAA Columbus Clippers. We primarily saw each other in 2013 to 2014, and we met maybe 1 to 2 times a year after that until 2018. We met for sex the majority of times we saw each other, primarily in 2013, early 2014, and last in 2018. None of our meetings ever involved a single non-consensual, let alone illegal act. In fact, she is the one who introduced me to choking, both in our relationship and as a consensual act during sex. The incidents she detailed to the Washington Post, and specifically the one that involved non-consensual choking, in which she claims to have convulsed and woken up on a hotel floor, absolutely never occurred in any capacity. Additionally, at no point during sex or otherwise did I ever hit her. Since 2019 alone, this woman has sent me 139 sexually explicit photos and videos in which she is self-performing various acts and self-penetrating with various objects, often saying things like, quote, "Wish this was you." Across hundreds of messages during this period, she also requested on numerous occasions the various acts which she now claims for the first time were problematic. For example, writing, quote, "Just fuck my ass and choke me, that's all I want," end quote, and, quote, "Will you fuck me with anal beads in? It would be fun to try, and I want you to film it," end quote. Given the explicit contents of these messages, I do not plan to share them in their entirety. Despite claiming to the Washington Post that she did not reach out to me after a, quote, "fight" in 2019, which involved her wanting to visit me for sex and me asking if she planned to stay the night or not because I wasn't sure if she had work the next day, and she took offense, this woman has continued to contact me through 2021 to share additional unsolicited sexually explicit videos, to make small talk, wish me happy birthday multiple times, and even to ask a personal favor. I had not responded to a single message since the non-existent, quote, "fight." Following these messages with no response, the woman hired a lawyer who attempted to solicit a financial settlement on October 19, 2021 in exchange for resolving her, quote, "issue," and not to speak with MLB. I refused to be extorted and declined. Upon Gus Garcia-Roberts reaching out with the usual fire drill deadline, my representatives made him, his editor, and Washington Post legal counsel aware of a wealth of information contrary to what was alleged, and again questioned his motivations and the pattern of unethical conduct he has exhibited since July. After spending 10 months looking into my sex life, he spent at most 3.5 days looking into any contrary information that didn't align with the narrative he already decided on. Since July, Gus has referred to me as the Harvey Weinstein of baseball, that's a quote, among other similar references. He has continued to pursue anything, regardless of evidence, corroboration, contrary information, or motives, that he can force into supporting his concept while ignoring everything that contradicts that notion. Here are the messages from the non.
All right, so that's it. Because after that, they show the messages, or he has to show all the evidence with everything.
And this is available, by the way. I know there was strong language, explicit language in there, but this is stuff that's available. Now, him reading it and the text itself is available on his Twitter.
This
this
is
open
on
to the
YouTube.
public.
It's on YouTube. Like, we pulled this directly from YouTube where he had it. I mean, what the Harvey Weinstein of baseball?
Which, I mean, if
That's a stretch.
which doesn't work as an exact simile.
That's the Washington Post.
I mean, if it was in the opinion section, you could basically get away with it because it's like, opinion. Trevor Bauer is a dick. I mean that's.
Oh, wait a minute. As much as we all think he's a jerk, and we understand that, the Washington Post can't make that.
In the opinion section, you can call him whatever you like.
But you don't think that's a little over the top, like making that statement in a paper?
Again, but it's not meant to be taken as objective fact.
And again, I'm not defending him. He's a jerk. Like, he deserves to be banned from the sport.
It's exaggeration.
It's exaggeration. I think it was more trying to draw a comparison, but it's a little clunky, and you don't want to.
Well, if you saw Hank's face,
you don't want to screw around with that.
Hank's face when he heard that comment go out. Wait, I need to know what went on in your head when you heard that comment.
I was like, "What? You're comparing yourself to?"
So yeah, it's like when he started describing things, it's like, okay, so we're going there, huh?
Well, he wasn't describing himself. That's what the Post. He was reading some of the quotes from the.
I honestly thought you were talking about the explicit message, the alleged.
No, when he was reading the text, that's what I was saying.
That was bad too. Some of the explicit objects that was a little much.
It's a good thing I wasn't drinking water because
Yeah.
I mean,
if I was drinking anything myself, I probably would have either. I don't even know if I was spit. I might.
If you were hungry while listening to us, you probably just lost your appetite.
Yeah, probably. And also, I need to point out one more thing. So Rachel Luba, who is his agent, who's been very outspoken during this whole thing, and basically decided to attack the Washington Post on top of it. So she tweeted out, "Not only do you write about uncorroborated claims and blatantly ignore contrary evidence that undercuts your narrative, but you also completely misrepresent the exact words of a judge from a transcript you have."
Which, Rachel, is not the operative fucking point here. It's like, are you going after the media because, first of all, what difference does it make? Your beef is with MLB, not with the Washington Post.
Actually, I wouldn't even say that. I would say her beef is probably with the court system, not with MLB.
Exactly, because they are just reporting on what they. It's not like they're engaged. A secret, shadowy cabal is meeting in secret by candlelight to try and screw over Trevor Bauer. It's like, what do they get? What do they care?
But Hank, do you see this as, I guess, an essential black eye on the sport, or no?
An essential black guy. I think you're being a little too kind there.
Well, yeah, so how would you put it then?
It's worse than an essential black guy. That's what I'm going to tell you. There's another horrible thing that's happened to the sport, and of course,
this is them trying to head off the
right thing by suspending him. But you know what? I'm not even going to praise him for that because, as you and I both alluded to, he did this probably a year and a half too late.
It's not a black eye. What it is, it's one of those cuts you see in boxing or UFC that it's like right above the eye and you see the blood slowly trickling down.
No, you know what I think it is? I think it's that Rob Manfred finally dug his way to China.
I mean, you know what they say about broken clocks and blind squirrels.
Well, they're right twice a day.
They're right twice a day, or eventually they'll find their nuts.
Exactly. Eventually he was going to be rummaging around and finding at least one nut.
You know what?
I don't think he has a full set, but
you could use it. I mean, you could use that in a vasectomy ad.
I don't know if I would have said full nut. I think he's trying to inflate his nuts, but that's a whole different situation.
Trying to compensate for something.
Just ride around on him like a hippity hop.
But, oh God!
He's pogo sticking with his nuts.
Oh God! What is going on here? I mean, let me just make a disclaimer here. We're not making fun of this story. It's just that it's so ridiculous that
it's just so ridiculous that that we have to talk about these things, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I guess after all this, I guess MLB doesn't stand for make life better. After all,
no, they don't.
I don't know.
It's MLB stands for Manfred loses baseball. Manfred loses ball.
That's what I did in the minute. I think I've come up with more acronyms for baseball, for MLB, than any other sport. It used to be the NFL. Those were the ones I used to do with the acronyms. Now it's just
because usually it's MLB, major loss of balls.
Well, oh, that's a good one too.
My gosh.
I don't know, but this story is Trevor Bauer is going to be gone. Can we just admit that he's going to be gone and he's not coming back?
No chance.
No chance. If you're the Dodgers, this is probably as long as the suspension is held through the end of his contract. This is a moment of celebration. For the Yankees and Mets, this is a moment of relief that they didn't take a chance on him after what was it, the 2020 season or 2020?
Can you imagine if the Mets and Steve Cohen, who was having issues already in the media, can you imagine if Trevor Bauer was with the Mets right now and what would have happened?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hank, I don't know what.
If he went to the Mets, and like this would be like front page news on crack. It's funny. I told so many Met fans when he didn't sign, you dodged a bullet big time. Just how big of a bullet they dodged, I had no idea.
Nobody knew at the time. I'll
tell you this though, like with his personality, I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here. So
hey, no, this is good.
No, it's okay.
I think if he had pitched for the Mets, he would have been a disaster. His personality and the scrutiny of New York are pretty big. So that's the reason I thought that the Mets dodged a massive bullet.
And the money too.
Yeah, no.
Which is why the Dodgers are...
They had a healthy DeGrom at the time, so I didn't think he was really... I thought, to quote George Lopez, he was a luxury, not a necessity.
That's a great quote.
If you remember the space shuttle launch episode,
yes, I do. But all right, let's move around a little bit. There's a few other baseball stories I want to ask you about as well.
All right, so should we go then to the letter?
Let's talk about the letter. So the Yankees letter comes out. I did a ETV minute on this. So the Yankees, and Nick and I talked about this on Beyond the Bench as well, where Randy Levine was basically trying to hide this letter. And I think Nick came up with one of the best references. It was basically, here's a suitcase of money. I'm going to put it on the table and I'm going to walk out.
I'm going to walk away. Anything that happens, happens.
So what did you think about the letter?
I didn't think it was as big as obviously the media made it out to be, but once again, it's another black mark on, can I say it?
Yeah.
Rob Manfred.
I think honestly, guys, MLB needs to change its name. I think it needs to change its name to NLC, Major League Cheating.
I mean, at that point in time, I mean, but people were acting like, especially some people in the baseball media, were acting like this letter was going to be the exoneration that the Astros needed.
No, I mean what the Astros did, what the Astros did was worse completely. But
yes, absolutely.
You know what this goes to show you? I'm sorry, the Astros, the Red Sox, and Yankees all have had an accusation within the last decade of cheating, and they all come true.
It's all
doing it. Then
it's all major market teams.
They're all doing it. Yeah, or at least they were.
By the way, I was going to say C stands for something else, but I'm going to try and hold some integrity.
No, we've already had enough vulgarity on this show. Yeah, Nick, please.
I mean, seriously, I don't want to get picketed by evangelicals, man.
Well, I was just going to say, I won't say the word, but we could say Rob Manfred's done enough sucking of it already.
We just lost our monetization.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Where's our spend? There goes our sponsorship, flying out the window like Superman.
But my point is, this whole letter, the Yankees have done things before. The Red Sox have done something before. The Astros have done something before. Heck, the Cubs have done something before with corked bats with Sammy Sosa. We're talking about major teams that are all looking for an edge. Are we really surprised?
We also have the Cardinals Astros computer hacking.
Well, no, that was when Jeff Lunau left from the Astros to the Cardinals organization and basically said, you know what? I'm going to take my database and my logins.
He went the other way. He went the other way. He went from the Cardinals to the Astros.
No, he was in the Astros organization. He went to the Cardinals, I thought. Wasn't it? I thought it was. Maybe.
He went from the Astros to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Cardinals
And he basically took his logins from the Astros organization and said, I'm going to take all the records, all the numbers with me. Nah, no one's going to see me. Of course they got caught. Gee, you think no one was going to catch that?
No, it's a matter of first of all, it was 2015 and part of 2016. So, and they didn't do it in the playoffs, and apparently they knocked it off when.
But who
when
cares?
Manfred gave them the warning.
But who cares? It's cheating.
Yes, it is still cheating, but it's not what the Astros did.
I don't know.
It's not.
So
It's not. It's not.
I got a little REM song parody for you. Everybody cheats.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
That's good.
And the
one of my
Astros were
favorite
even
bands,
trying
too.
to do it. Yeah, they were even trying to do it, I think, after 2017, weren't they?
Well, so what happened was in the memo that came out when I did the minute, it said that they started in 2015, 2016. Then, because the Yankees were made example of, that's when the memo came out.
And they were made.
You're talking
example.
about the Apple Watch scenario.
That was Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yeah.
That was in London, of all places.
But at a certain
The Apple Watch happened in 17.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
September
17.
2017.
Yeah, that was in London.
No, but I'm saying like they made a huge example out of that when it happened, like a big time, because everyone was like, "Oh, well, the Yankees are doing it, but the Red Sox were doing it too."
Mhm.
I don't
Who
know.
isn't doing it at this point? All right. Let's go across town. Let's go to the Mets. Let's talk about this bench clearing ball after Yohan Lopez threw at Nolan Arenado, accompanied that is the comments of Chris Bassett, which after several bean attempts at Mets baseball players, where Chris Bassett said that basically pitchers can't get a hold of the baseball and Major League Baseball has to do something, which connects with, if you remember, the spider tack controversy from last year.
Which, ladies and gentlemen, they are overcorrecting a problem here. It's like, okay, now let's make the ball out of Teflon so nobody can grab it.
You know what? This whole situation, and I put out a tweet. I'm sure everyone saw it. I got really annoyed. I think that baseball is soft. People need to stop. Getting hit in baseball happens. It's what happens. You're going to lose a pitch here and there. I'm tired of the whole spider tack controversy. Does it make pitching? I think that's like it's like a placebo. If you use it, you use it.
Why don't we just allow aluminum bats in MLB at this rate?
I saw on SportsCenter the other day that someone actually broke an aluminum bat.
You have to have a lot of strength for that to happen.
You have to be like Giancarlo Stanton to strong to break that.
Well, no, it was hit like right on the bottom of the bat, and it broke. It sawed off essentially like a wood bat.
Damn.
That's nuts. I've never seen an aluminum bat break.
But you know what? I understand, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this for weeks. The Mets are the most hit team in baseball. Yes, we know.
I mean, they are, but you take what we've seen. I mean, it can't just be one of those things.
But at the same time,
I don't want to go all tinfoil hat here, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, there's got to be either they're crowding the plate too much, or they can't get, or the other teams can't get control of the ball.
Yeah, but what I don't like, and Hank, I want to hear this from you too. Like Nolan Arenado was the one that got suspended, but no one on the Mets did. Like, what's the pitcher's name?
Yohan Lopez got fined.
Yohan Lopez, who literally threw at somebody, doesn't get a suspension, just gets a fine.
And that one was on purpose.
Like, what do you say, Hank?
Yeah, that's
no, I didn't get it at all. I mean, look, I get why they were trying to throw at Arenado, like they're upset at being hit. But first of all, if you're gonna even retaliate during this situation, never, ever, ever throw up and in.
Right, exactly.
You're asking for trouble.
Especially if you hit them in the head.
And like I said, I'm not saying I don't get why the Mets are frustrated, because believe me, I do. But at the same time, if you're throwing on purpose at someone right in that area,
expect trouble.
You're asking for trouble.
Yes, it's the ancient principle of fucking around and finding out.
Well, so my question is, are they saying based on Nolan Arenado getting the largest suspension that he instigated the fight?
I mean, it comes off like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think. No, I'm not saying. And Nolan Arenado, by the way, during this fight was no saint either. But still,
No, I'm not saying that. Yeah,
No,
but
but I think it's strange though.
Suspension, it's stupid. I agree.
I think it's strange that Yohan Lopez only gets a fine while Arenado gets a suspension.
oh, and my favorite part of that is it's an undisclosed fine, so we have no idea. It could be $10 for all we know.
And hot take, I get why he tried to like get into the fight because look, when players like get thrown at intentionally, like they know that's a risk of them like being hurt for a certain amount of time, missing a good amount of games, and losing money. Like, so
and they don't like that. And
yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I know this is a little bit off topic, but the Cardinals first base coach suplexing.
Oh my God,
Who was it that he suplexed?
Alonso.
He suplexed Pete Alonso. I mean, literally, he didn't tackle him.
And Alonso
he grabbed him, and then it's like, what are you, Eddie Guerrero?
Wait a minute. And Alonso like called him a punk in the post-game press conference.
First of all, Stubby Clapp. That is a baseball name if I've ever heard one.
That is a good name. But he basically said to the media after the game, he's like, "That's unfair because he tackled me." Okay, and what's your point?
He actually suplexed you. So look, get your wrestling terminology right. So I mean, get your wrestling terminology right.
Took her to Suplex City like Brock Lesnar.
I don't know. Was this fight? Wait a minute. But was this fight actually on TV or was it on a streaming? I'm losing track anymore.
It had to be on TV.
It was on TV.
Well, because of all the streaming platforms, I can't keep track anymore.
And it was a game the Cardinals were winning.
Wait, there was a fight and a game broke out.
Exactly. It's hockey. It's hockey, basically, although you wouldn't see suplexing in hockey, though.
That's not true. We see people get jumped on all the time in hockey.
No, but not thrown backwards.
Not a full-out suplex.
Well, maybe not, but I don't know.
Maybe you can get away with a couple of diamond cutters, but still, you're not going to go full Kevin Nash and let's power bomb people.
My question is, Hank, all the unwritten rules in the sport of baseball. We saw it. I'm sure you saw it in the Giants Nationals game where the Giants, the Nationals were not holding on the Giants runner. They were up like 6-0 or 6-1, and the Nationals got upset because a blooper was hit into the outfield. He tried to score.
How dare he try to score an extra run just to make it safe?
How dare I?
How dare you score an extra run because you're up by a big enough lead. You don't need a 10-0. I hate the unwritten rule.
Then institute the mercy rule if that's the case.
Oh, please no.
And,
We're gonna go full Little League here.
But if you're that upset about it, I mean,
don't put him on base.
Are you gonna walk on eggshells for the entire time?
Wait a minute.
Afraid of hurting some hypothetical person's feelings?
Oh, wait a
No,
minute.
You're not gonna do that.
Wait a second. Remember we talked about that they're putting in the side-by-side bases next year. Or was it this year? I don't remember. The Little League bases, remember?
The giant-sized bases, yes.
Because now they don't want hamstring injuries at first base.
What difference is that going to make?
So you know what?
I'm bringing something back.
Here we go.
I'm bringing back my plea.
Hold on.
Please, will somebody out there?
I need to add something to this.
Uh-oh. If anybody is out there that has a hell of a lot of money, please start up the XLB. That way there can be some alternative baseball programming.
You know, just replace the bases with park benches at this point.
You have to. Okay, but then how is somebody technically on base? Do they have to sit their butt on the bench fully?
Or just do the thing from American Gladiators where they're all on top of the platform and they just beat each other with sticks.
Why don't we just play Banjo-Kazooie and just like jump up and reach the item?
Oh gosh, I love N64 games.
or just the old-fashioned Super Mario games. You have to hit the question mark box to get the coin.
What about how about even better? How about you try to go on Rainbow Road in Super Mario 64?
Yes.
How about we take reference to Mario Superstar Baseball and we get star chances so that way baseball players can have power-ups every time they get up to the batter on the mound.
That's like Mario Tennis. Like I told the guys, I made a joke. It's like a month ago now, where like if you can't reach the ball,
everybody on the infield's juicing except the guy at the plate.
Oh my god!
But I don't know.
Or the guy at the plate, or the guy at the plate is juicing and no one else is.
No, I got an idea. I got a really good idea. Let's bring MLB Slugfest to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's on first base, and the first baseman and the runner can just whack each other.
just clothesline each other. It just comes in and just.
I don't know, but all right. So let's finish up on this, and Hank's given us a lot of time. So, and then we'll go back to what we're doing in the show. What do you think of the Yankees and the Mets having the best record in baseball right now?
I think it's great. I'm glad the Yankees are improving after that horrible loss to the Orioles. I mean, I think they've only lost once since that series, believe it or not. But do I think it's sustainable for either team? I don't know. Probably not. But at the same time, I'm enjoying it while I can. I like that the base running has definitely been a heck of a lot better last year. Nick, if you had met me last year, you would have known that I would have been complaining a lot about the defense and the base running. Probably just as much.
Yeah.
But pitching has been all right. Again, I don't know if it's gonna last. Like, I love how Cortez and Cole have been. So that's.
I love how Cortez is probably the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Cortez is great. I love that guy.
That the whole rotation is good. I mean, Montgomery's even pitching better. Now he's finally getting run support. He's like the Jacob DeGrom baseball from last year.
But situational hitting has also been improved. It's like because you have a healthier LeMahieu. IKF is starting to find his stroke.
I think the Yankees are finally learning their lesson that you don't need to be hitting a home run every single time you're up there.
Exactly. Long balls are fun, but you can't subsist on them all the entire time.
Yeah, it's true.
That's why I feel like, as much as we talk about the judges and keeping him or not, and Cole and his massive contract, I think DJ LeMahieu is probably one of the most important people on this team.
Oh, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
100%. I thought he was the MVP. I knew he had to have been hurt for him to not be as productive last year. Like, good hitters don't just suddenly lose their hitting ability.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Right?
And even when he was banged up, didn't he still finish the season with a 260, 270 average too?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not like any other hitter. That's not considered horrible.
Hey,
Right.
that's better than Stanton and Judge.
If Stanton had that average, it's like, hey, great season.
Yeah.
Right now, you wish Joey Gallo would have that average.
Oh,
I
God.
mean, he'll get there. But you know what? We don't have to depend. The Yankees don't. I keep saying we, but the Yankees don't have to depend on him.
By the way, that opposite field home run that Joey Gallo hit the other day, that was sick to left center. I didn't realize he had that power.
He has a lot of things people don't realize. He can also run.
Well,
Yeah, it's just a matter of when he makes contact.
Yeah.
when he's not striking out, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Ryan Howard, who would strike out like 200 times a year with Philly, and then he would just hit a massive mammoth home run. And people are like, oh, wait, that's what you can do? Can you do more of it?
Ryan Howard. I remember Ryan Howard had some of the biggest bombs I've ever seen.
Well, especially in that ballpark.
As far as I know, I think he's one of the only Phillies to hit it clear over that brick batter's eye in center field.
Yes, I do remember that.
He hit it right by where the what's that stand called? I think it's not Chickies and Pete's. I can't remember where it was, but this was like that year in 2006 where he was just hitting 58 home runs and everyone was just throwing him meatballs, and then after a while they really adjusted to him and he realized
Once they realized you couldn't hit a breaking ball anymore.
Yep.
But I guess one last thing. What are you looking forward to in headlines wise for Major League Baseball?
What am I looking forward to? Oh gosh, I'm looking forward to probably the Yankees, the AL East race. I would say for sure.
That's good. That division is a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
We knew it was going to be a 4-team race, but we didn't think it would be them so bunched up.
Yeah, and then I saw this rumor story also. I'll bring it up just because I thought it was funny too. Did you see that there was a story out there that they want to make 4 8-team divisions in Major League Baseball?
Like they do hockey.
What? That
You didn't see that story?
So I guess that would mean we'd have expansion in baseball again. We would have to.
Oh yeah, expansion. Just because we all need an expansion in MLB.
Which means you can bring back you can bring back the
Expos.
Well, I was really tempted to call them the X-rays because of the whole half-season.
I know. But I'm still going to be beating the bring back the Extros horn.
No, I thought that team got screwed. I mean, y'all know. I know in wrestling you have your own term for the Montreal screw job, but to me, the Montreal screw job was the '94 strike.
Yeah, that is good.
For the Yankees and Expos, absolutely was. We should have had a Yankees Expos World Series that year.
For the Expos especially, because they didn't want to pay their star players after that season.
Yeah.
They traded everyone for pennies on the dollar, and they never recovered. And they were bought by Jeffrey Loria, who we know has done a lot of damage to the.
I was gonna say, and he did that with the Marlins.
And then, not to mention, he then sold the Expos, and they were at a point where they were pretty much owned by every single team. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just found one of the stories. So this is more kind of guessing rather than what it actually is. So National League West, American League East, National League Central, and American League South. Those are the 4 realignments. And they have other teams. The Montreal Expos are actually in the picture again, that they're talking about bringing them back.
What would be the other expansion franchise?
The Nashville Stars.
The MLB has been looking into Nashville.
So those were the 2 teams they were talking about. I even saw a rumor that there could be a Mexico team. If that happens.
I am not even touching that because God knows what name they'll come up with.
The Mexican tamales.
Something along
That's
those
exactly
lines,
what I
probably.
didn't want you to do.
Arriba!
Stop! Stop it! Stop it!
All right.
I'll stop it. All right. All right. Hank, thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Always a pleasure, guys.
Let me throw one more time. Hitting for the Cycle with Hank and Victor Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, here on the ETV Network, Game On with Hank as well as Johnny Montalbano every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Thanks, Hank. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Always a pleasure, guys.
Okay. See you around.
See you, Hank.
Okay. So now that we got the baseball out of the way, and by the way,
talk some football. What?
we spent like 50 minutes on that.
Yeah,
Holy.
we gotta get to some football. We can't ignore the fact that that the NFL draft is now finishing up. Of course, we had the live stream on
round
Thursday
1
night to talk about round 1. As expected, within those last couple of days, Trayvon Walker, the defensive end from Georgia, goes number 1 overall. There were some thoughts about potentially Jacksonville going with an offensive liner, but they do decide to go with defense. Aiden Hutchinson, who is another defensive end, one out of Michigan, he goes number 2 to Detroit. There was always a toss-up between which of those 2 were going to be taken.
Round 1 was bizarre, though, because...
Well, it started great. It started great. We had our expected 1-2s. The Jets and Giants pretty much won the night with their picks. The Jets getting Sauce Gardner as well as Garrett Wilson at number 10, and then trading up, and we'll talk about trades in a second, trading up to acquire, what was it? Jermaine Johnson, who surprisingly slipped down from 26 after being pegged as a top 10 potential person.
I didn't even realize this. I didn't realize that the Jets were out of picks in the first round. They traded back into the first round too.
Yeah, they did.
With the Giants.
What?
No, that was round 2. That was round 2.
No, the Jets traded back up into the first round to get Johnson.
Didn't they trade with the Vikings?
26. Let's see. No,
I don't
26.
remember. Wasn't it the Titans or the Texans? I think. I can't remember.
You guys continue to talk. I'll look that up.
Well, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean,
the Giants and the Jets both had unbelievable drafts.
Yeah, I can't.
Tennessee was the Titans.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of any at this initial stage. I can't see it as anything but a home run for both.
Now, for the Giants, they did scare me a little when they went with Thibodeau at number 5 after, all the talk about Neal and needing to improve the offensive line, which, by the way, fun fact, yeah, we're making a reference there to the fun facts banner that we had. First time in NFL history, all top 5 picks, all defense.
And the other interesting thing was the quarterback. There wasn't a quarterback chosen until the 20th pick when Kenny Pickett went to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which actually
just
was
to wrap up the Giants point, I guess because they were all defensive people going, and they still had Ike Ukanu, who was drafted by the Carolina Panthers in the pick that was sandwiched between the two Giants picks. I guess they said, you know what? If we lose Neal, we got Ike. They said we need to get a defensive person because they're flying off the shelves quickly.
It's amazing to me that they didn't get that. No one else took Neal. That he was still available.
You know, it was bizarre though. Some of the teams that were trading back quite a few times. So the Titans trade back a few times. The Ravens trade back a few times. And by the way, on top of Vikings. The Vikings. But Lamar Jackson went off on a Twitter tirade last
All
week.
right, let's talk about the trades, because I think the trades were the biggest talking point. So we had 9 trades in that first round. Not all of them were picks. So the two big stories obviously coming out. Marquise Hollywood Brown first getting traded from the Ravens to the Cardinals. As it comes out in the 48-ish hours since then, there are reports that apparently Marquise Hollywood Brown himself requested a trade at the end of the season. He apparently wanted out. Of course, if you're Lamar Jackson, you're going to be a little peeved anyways, because that was your number one receiver.
Damn. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck they were smoking when they did that.
I know. You know what's funny? I'm looking at the picks right now since, for round 2 onward. I still don't see them taking a receiver. I guess they're gonna be all in on Rashad Bateman.
I don't understand.
Puts a lot of pressure on Rashad Bateman.
He's only a second-year player.
Yeah.
I just don't understand what the Ravens were doing though. This is bizarre. Like, and
I mean, do you honestly hate having Lamar Jackson as your quarterback?
Now, maybe the Cardinals did a little bit of an overpay, but
no, I don't.
But
think
you're also going to have Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's maybe because he's not going to be the number one receiver over there. Because if you actually remember, I didn't realize till afterwards, they don't have Christian Kirk anymore. Christian Kirk's I think he's in Miami now.
He's in Miami. Signed.
So
Miami wasn't the Jaguars. It was one of them.
So he's over there. So they needed to replace him. And that's only going to be for the number 2 guy over there, because the number 1 guy, obviously, over there is going to be DeAndre Hopkins.
But it doesn't make sense anyway. What are the Ravens thinking? Like, Lamar is up for a contract extension, and now you're making it worse. And by the way,
this is a clear we're going for it move for the Cardinals.
But wait a minute. On top of it, though, even though Lamar has a beef, Lamar was being unprofessional last night in every way, shape, or form.
Let's be clear, guys. I think this might be the end of the Ravens chase. And honestly, after what we've been witnessing between the uncertainty of what's going to happen in Pittsburgh and between what we're seeing, the craziness that we're seeing in Cleveland with the Baker Mayfield situation, which we'll talk about in just a second, that the AFC North might be Cincinnati's division for a while.
Oh, it is. It's going to be for a very long time. They are now the Patriots of that division.
Probably. But the other big story involving receiver, I don't even think Marquise Hollywood Brown, he was the big story, but then the Eagles won the night by not even having to, it wasn't even by way of by drafting. It was
what are the Titans doing?
Because apparently the Titans didn't want to pay AJ Brown, so he gets shipped off to Philadelphia, who in turn gives AJ Brown a 4-year, $100 million extension with $53 million of that guaranteed.
I mean, hello, Jets. Why didn't you call? If AJ Brown was available, call.
I mean, he shouldn't have been available. I'm sure they didn't even know.
Which means Tennessee is going to go with, firstly, they're going to have Robert Woods, who they acquired from the Rams early in the offseason, and then they acquired a number 18 pick to get Treylon Burks. Which, if we think that Rashad Bateman's going to have a lot of pressure, Treylon Burks, he is going to have a hell of a lot of pressure, as is Robert Woods.
But you know what's scaring me though?
Your 3-pronged offense is actually only 1 prong.
No, but
it's just Derrick Henry, and then Derrick Henry.
You know what's scaring me though is that teams are not willing to pay contract extensions in the NFL right now. You're not willing to pay 4 years, $100 million.
You can afford it.
Like
With the salary cap.
This is not Major League Baseball where the money flies all over the place and everything goes. I mean, what is going on here with the NFL and money?
Are we going to see the situation that we see in baseball now? Are we going to see that in the NFL soon?
Well, if you heard what I said in the intro, which I said last week, the NFL is actually partially doing it right because it makes it more competitive between all the teams to spend the money properly.
But but this is the downside where nobody gets paid and you have the best players just constantly there's no loyalty. It's just teams would rather lop off their own arms than actually use it to open up their wallets.
No, this is the owners putting the money back in their pocket, which we've said many times.
Which we see in baseball quite a bit.
Yeah, but baseball has no excuse. There's no cap.
Right.
The NFL has a cap, so at least I can understand maybe you have to make a choice here and there not to spend, but not on A.J. Brown. No, he's one of the top receivers in the sport.
And especially when you've already you go from A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, to Robert Woods and Treylon Burks, which Julio, I guess I kind of get. He's not the Julio of old. But I thought you had it right when you had A.J. Brown and Robert Woods. And then adding in Treylon Burke. Now, all of a sudden, you go, that's a major downgrade. That's a major downgrade for Tannehill. And all you need is Derrick Henry to tear something again, and then you're going to have a big problem.
You're screwed. You're absolutely 100% screwed.
You basically dropped 1 for 1. That's what you did there.
Right, when you could have had a lot better of a situation. Note on the Baker Mayfield situation. So, as reported this morning by Matt Lombardo, my guy over at Fansided, and has been constantly, talked about, the Panthers as a result of their drafting of they drafted one of the quarterbacks yesterday. Was it Carroll? Yeah, Matt Corral.
Matt Corral, yeah.
As a result of that, they are out on Baker Mayfield. If Baker Mayfield is to get moved, the reported now favorite destination once again is Seattle.
So how bad is Baker Mayfield's reputation with the Panthers?
It's bad. No, it's not just forget the Panthers. The Panthers
that was a rhetorical question.
No, but Nick, forget the Panthers because that's what everyone's talking about in the trade. His whole reputation has been soiled and shit upon because of what he's done in Cleveland.
You know what? The Cleveland and Baker Mayfield both have something in common. The color brown.
Exactly, but I mean...
because Baker Mayfield's reputation is in the shitter. His NFL career is in the shitter, and I think the Cleveland Browns are going to be in the shitter very soon with how their team is structured now.
Taking the Browns to the Super Bowl is going back to just being a metaphor for taking a dump.
I was going to say, him taking Brown to the Super Bowl might be him going to the bathroom during the Super Bowl.
Which, by the way, is kind of sad that with Baker's situation, because if he did go to Seattle, I think he could win a quarterback battle with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. And I think he'd be in a much better situation when you have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett as your receivers. No, but Nick, I'm saying, but is that going to happen?
He could win listen to what you just said. He could win a quarterback competition between Drew Lock and Geno Smith.
And himself.
Drew Lock and Geno, I got punched in the jaw and broke it because of an airline ticket. Smith.
I mean, I'll do it for you. I was going to say one more thing, though. Baker Mayfield is one step away from this.
RELAX.
Because guess what? Baker Mayfield, at the rate he's going, he won't have the longevity, the career, and the success that Aaron Rodgers ever had.
No.
He won't have the career he won't have the talent in a pinky finger.
Wait, time out. Rodgers. I'm talking about the personality of Aaron Rodgers, not the on the field Aaron Rodgers. Forget it. He's never going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, yeah. He's not winning. The only thing that Baker Mayfield is going to be winning is a trip to the shitter at this point.
Baker Mayfield, how soon before we see him in the revived XFL?
I mean, how long did it take Johnny Manziel to end up in the
Spring
Canadian
League
Football League?
or Canadian Football League?
What? 2, 3, maybe even
Something
4
like that.
years?
Nope, the USFL.
Yeah, there's the USFL too.
Yeah, the USFL.
All right. Sean Payton is apparently going to be joining the Fox analysis team in the studio.
I really wouldn't talk to him about fairness.
And apparently Drew Brees is in his situation, his media situation is questioning too, because apparently he wants to be at games. He doesn't want to be in the studio anymore.
I mean, there's only so much of Herm Edwards you can take, I guess, at what time.
Be careful, he might take a bounty out on you.
Sean Payton is not. You're not going to use him as a rules analyst.
Wait, you sure he didn't take a bounty out on Fox in the process of being hired?
Also, to make note, the Virginia AG is actually launching an investigation into the Commanders, so that story's still going.
That story is still going, and we may still get Dan Snyder under congressional oath, which, oh my God, that would just be so perfect. It would just be such a perfect encapsulation.
Unfortunately,
of what
right now, Nick,
show
that's just
the NFL has
fantasy.
become.
Yeah, but that's just fantasy at this rate, and I'm talking fantasy football. Unfortunately,
I
No.
know, but I just want him to. I just want him to crack under pressure. I just want him to be under congressional oath and confess to every parking ticket he's ever had.
You expect, first of all, he wouldn't even admit to anything. He's not going to admit to a parking ticket.
It's like those cop interrogations and those cop shows where you shine the light in his face. It's like, all right.
Wait a minute. I still think it's ironic that he called his team the Commanders when he doesn't take command of anything inside his life.
I mean, there's a bit of dramatic irony there.
all right. I forgot to rewind the tape. Every tape that I was going to rent from Blockbuster.
For our younger viewers, Blockbuster was a place you went to go get movies, and they never had anything good.
Yes.
No, you
Make fun of the fact we're old.
no, you
Yeah,
just
right.
we just rented video games from Blockbuster instead.
Yes, I double parked. I parked in a handicap zone without the sticker.
All I needed was to use the bathroom for a minute.
You were in there for 6 hours. I was taking a really big dump.
Oh God.
All right, Nick, very briefly, because we're running out of time, but talk about the NBA playoffs, and namely the fact that your Nets are now officially out, got swept by the Celtics, and Ben Simmons' line for the 2021-2022 season is going to read all zeros.
He played as many basketball games in 2022 and this season as I have.
It's the three of us. I
All
mean,
three of us combined.
to be honest, and Stephen A, Screaming A, as I like to call him, has already said enough on First Take and ESPN.
Was steam coming out of his ears? I didn't see it.
Oh, his steam coming out of his ears. He basically took apart Ben Simmons. Violently capitulating. This guy sucks.
He actually said that?
I don't know if he said sucks, but he's just like he was like in typical Stephen A, I'm losing my mind mode. He was doing wait a minute.
How do you defend that though? You can't.
He was doing the Sterling shake on TV.
Oh God.
But
I mean, I know Ben Simmons was talking about mental health. I know he's been talking about this back injury, but there's this whole notion around the league and around the team that it was kind of a letdown. The fact that he just did not play.
a letdown? You're being nice.
I mean, you're the
So does this mean that the James Harden trade, they basically gave James Harden away to the 76ers and got nothing?
I hate to say this, and now I'm going to have to go back on my words when they made this trade. The Sixers won the trade. The Sixers won the trade. Yes, I'm reversing course on this.
And the Sixers didn't even make the playoffs, did they?
No, they did. They're
right, they did.
They're about to make. They're in the second round now too.
But they're about to lose though because Embiid is gone.
Well, yeah, Embiid is out with the orbital fracture.
And you expect James Harden, Mr. Crack under playoff pressure, to lead a team into the finals.
Well, let's go back a second. Let's finish.
Playoff? What's that?
Because, first of all, Ben Simmons looks like the hippie that you took off the street that was doing drugs and said, "Give me a job! I need to work!"
At a certain point, though, I mean, you can't waste another year of KD, though. You can't.
Oh,
You can't keep doing this.
KD and Kyrie. And I love how Kyrie at the end of the series basically said, "Congratulations to the Celtics. Hey, much love.
No.
Much love and congratulations." Shut up!
They didn't beat you. You beat yourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it goes back to the minute that I did last week. It's clear this big three isn't working, and something's got to change.
Well,
Something's got to change. I mean, I know it's hard to play in the NBA. It's hard to play in the playoffs. Every game is a grind. But again, NBA teams are supposed to be built for that. You're supposed to have a coach that doesn't look like he's going to. He doesn't look like he's about to cross his legs trying to get into the men's room.
Steve Nash. Wow. Steve Nash should have never been the head coach of this organization. You know who to blame for this? And you know that they're not going to take any heat for this. It's KD and Kyrie who picked the head coach of the organization. It's not. Wait, I'm not done. The organization.
Okay. All
The
right.
management is not going to.
You know what? I'm gonna let you have all the spotlight, buddy.
Oh, good. So the Nets organization is a garbage dump. It's a garbage dump. This team, everyone thinks, "Oh my God, they're going to win. They're going to win." They're not going to win. They were favored as number 1 in Vegas. They finished in 8th, and they got swept, or 7th, however it is. I can't think of it because of the playoff tournament, which I hate. 7th. Who gives a shit? The organization is horrible. I'm disgraced to call myself a Net fan right now. I am. You know what? I'm going to be crazy right now. I'd rather be a Knick fan right now than a Net fan at this point in time.
Let's say things we can't take back.
Wait. What are you insinuating about Knicks fans, Nick?
I'm insinuating that the Knicks actually might have a younger and better team to play off of. I can't believe I'm saying that.
I mean,
You're out of your
They
mind.
got a younger core. They got a younger core.
They
with a lot of
got a younger
talent.
core. I'll give him that.
And Ben Simmons is the biggest joke of all time when it comes to athletes in the NBA. Even worse than LeBron James.
Wait a minute. Nick is actually saying somebody's worse than LeBron James. Somebody ring the alarm.
Chris, somebody, God.
Breaking the glass in case of emergency.
And I mean that. I'm not even just saying that for effect. Ben Simmons is a worse guy than LeBron James. Physically, mentally, and spiritually worse than LeBron James. Ben Simmons does not want to play. Ben Simmons wants to file a grievance for $20+ million when he didn't play a fucking minute in the league this year.
That I don't agree with.
And he's too busy looking like, I don't know what I want to say, hippie from the 60s, like I said earlier, the way he dresses on the sideline. I mean, what's ironic, though, he was wearing rose-colored glasses, and that's how we're looking at him right now.
Right, let's talk about the NHL playoffs now. So, NHL playoffs, we got quite an interesting scenario when it comes to the Eastern Conference. For the first time in NHL playoff history, all 8 Eastern Conference teams are 100+ points.
And it's gonna be great. I mean, of course, I'm a Ranger fan, so is Tom. I mean, at this point, if the Rangers are healthy and all set and ready to go, they can go pretty far. I'm not going to go as far as say they can go all the way because I don't want to jinx it, but they're definitely better than anybody expected them to be, and that's again, a lot of that is due to the trade deadline acquisitions. A lot of that is to Chris Kreider having the season that he's having, and Gerard Gallant actually being a coach that can bring people together and not just play with his lines like David Quinn and his little Jenga set.
Let's face this. David Quinn was a coach for a rebuilding team, and
yes,
it's pretty clear that the Rangers didn't want to go in that direction. I will eat some crow. What James Dolan and this crew has done and in hiring Drury and stuff, it's been unbelievable. It's been the speed up process that was needed.
It's been because again, you finally managed to get all these disparate pieces together, because on paper, I mean, Alexis Lafreniere, Adam Fox, Tammy Panarin. Who else am I missing?
Well,
Kako.
Kako, but when he's got to be healthy, though.
When he's got to be healthy, but getting them all to mesh and to play like as a Ranger fan, they're capable of playing. It's not easy.
How about Kopp? Kopp has been pulling through late in the
Andrew
season.
Kopp has been playing out of his mind. They need to extend that guy.
I think Rangers Penguins is going to be a very good series. As long as that team stays healthy, I think that's winnable for the Rangers. Carolina Hurricanes, Boston Bruins, who the Rangers would, I'd say the winner of Rangers Penguins plays the winner of Hurricanes Bruins. I think that's going to be interesting series. I know Hurricanes were the top team, I think, in the Eastern Conference. Or
that's probably going to be.
Oh no, second top. You have the Florida Panthers though, and the Washington Capitals being the 8th place team, the last team in the Eastern Conference. How time has changed.
I mean, you got a core that's aging, but they can still win. They're still dangerous as long as they as long as they have Ovechkin, and they are still a threat.
I think once again though, I think the Florida Panthers are a team to beat, and I think actually like last year, I think the Avalanche, Colorado, who again time has changed that they're now in the top teams of the West. I think they are also a team to beat.
But it may just be Canes Rangers as your Eastern Conference final or Panthers. The fact that there are so many teams to choose from is really it's unprecedented in I mean, at least this year.
I think it's going to be pretty good, at least on the Eastern Conference side of things. I think it's going to be really competitive.
Yeah, it is.
All right, couple more stories to quickly go through because we're running out of time here. Mark Emmert officially stepping down as the NCAA president. Now, it could happen one of two ways. June 2023 is when his deal technically is done. So he will be officially off the pedestal of the NCAA. But if his replacement is found sooner, it could come sooner.
So if somebody walks into his office and he's not there, you'll know what happened.
I mean, I'm not surprised by this because of all the issues the NCAA has had over the years. We've covered.
I mean, give credit where credit's due with the NCAA. Things have started to change a little bit with NILs and such. We're starting to see how the first controversy with NILs when it comes to, I think it was an athlete in Florida, a basketball athlete who's testing the NBA draft out.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would say is, and maybe I'm still old-fashioned partially on this, if you get a scholarship, that's technically considered a compensation when you go to college. I don't know why they're still making big deals about being paid.
I think you still have, with Emmert, though, even above the athlete pay thing, you still have had a lot of controversy with the NCAA under his banner.
Well, that's just in general. I mean, this is a tough job. This is one of the toughest jobs in all of sports to hold because you have to control the larger schools, get the smaller schools, try to even this out, which is never going to happen. The larger schools are always going to reign at the top. Yeah. You can't do anything about it. But I don't know. I mean, the athlete pay thing, they were talking about that. We were talking about that for quite a few years, if I remember correctly, weren't we?
Yeah,
we were.
All right, one last note here, and I think we're going to have one last blow up from the both of you. Wimbledon has ruled that it will not require the COVID vaccine, and therefore Novak Djokovic will be allowed to play at Wimbledon.
And, of course, you took the coward's way out because money means more to you than public health, because public health to you, it's neither public nor it's neither in the good of the public, nor is it the best health decision. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just bring back cigarette smoking at Wimbledon. You know what? Let's just let people grab the bats and just hammer the shit out of them. You don't give a shit about their own safety.
I don't think I needed to be there for that. I think I could have just let the two of you done all the talking there.
Oh, God.
As the music is playing from Nick Morgeson's, which Nick Federa is ranting, I think that was just the perfect image.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's just a shit show with a capital shit.
I mean, the way I put it, I'm the tennis guy here. Why are you letting him get away with this? Why? I don't care.
I know the mic's not picking it up, but believe me, I'm making the. It's about the money.
I think you're looking for that. But I'm so tired of this. Novak, go away. No one wants you anymore. That's what I would say. Okay. If Novak went away tomorrow, I wouldn't be upset about it. I wouldn't. I'm a tennis fan. You
Make
can
it rain.
you can do that all you want. I could care less. By the way, did you see that? But Boris, what was his name? Boris Johnson or Boris? Oh, Boris Johnson. Boris Becker.
Oh, Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson. Yikes. Boris Becker, the tennis Hall of Famer. He just got sentenced to 2.5 years in jail for hiding money assets.
Which again, it's about the money.
What is with
Always
the sport
has
of tennis of late?
You mean hiding assets or not taking the COVID vaccine or
And banning all Russian and Belarusian athletes, even if they speak out against Putin and put themselves in pretty much danger.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Freedom Fries fiasco all over
I
again.
can't believe I haven't done this all show, but I think this sums it all up.
Congratulations, dickweeds!
And that ends this week's edition of Empty the Bench. So make sure to hit like, make sure to hit that subscribe button, make sure so that way you can subscribe. When you make sure to ring the bell so that way you get all of the shows. Empty the Bench, Game On, Beyond the Bench. By the way, speaking of Game On, huge shout out again to Hank and Victor for joining us.
Yes, and also on top of that, we're looking at Game 3 or Game 4 of the Rangers series to do a little live watch along series. So the plan is to do one game a series as long as they're in the playoffs. So if they make it all the way to the Stanley Cup,
We may be there. And when I say we, I mean myself. I might be there. I'd like to keep you guys in suspense.
Well,
We'll probably do at least one game each though for the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals themselves, regardless.
yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. But the Rangers will be covered by Hank and Johnny from Game On. They're major Ranger fans also. So that's the plan. And then I'll head up the NBA. Whoever's going to be with me will be there. And we'll do some watch-along games. That's a new thing for us. We haven't done that before. So
Yeah. So make sure to subscribe, ring the bell.
Ring the bell!
And a special shout out to our sponsor, Knack Bags.
Oh, we didn't mention them today, did we?
Yes, we did. We did at the start.
We did at the start, but again, you got your Knack bags. Make sure you go to knackbags.com. When you get your Knack bag, make sure in the checkout cart you enter offer code BENCH. That's BENCH, and you will get a free TSA-approved lock. It's a $15 value, and you get it completely gratis.
Make sure
You need to get a Knack bag because they're stylish, they're indestructible, and they go wherever you go. So why aren't you buying one?
So make sure to go to knackbags.com, pick whatever Knack bag you want. Make sure to order the TSA-approved lock, and at checkout, use our code BENCH, BENCH, and that lock becomes free. My Knack bag's a little heavy because I actually have all my work stuff in there.
Well, and I have one more announcement to make as well.
Okay.
So since we're talking about Knack, we have a new sponsor on the way. That's official. Now, we haven't put all the paper. Everything is there, but we're going to start it probably in the next show. We are going to be partnering with a company named Headspace. Headspace, and Tom, I think you know it. Nick, you might know it too.
Yeah,
So there's Headspace, and then there's Calm. They're two brands. So Calm is the one that you said, like LeBron James, all them, everything. Headspace is the other one. We are partnering with Headspace. That will be starting in the next couple of days. So make sure you look out for Headspace. It's a telehealth / healthy sleeping meditation company. So if you're looking for mental health and healthy sleeping, Headspace is the way to go.
We're the picture of mental health, ladies and gentlemen. So why would we lie?
I already have an idea who's going to be in our Headspace each week.
Who's going to be in our Headspace?
Gee, I wonder who that might be.
I can see it now between Deshaun Watson, LeBron James.
Oh, did somebody say Deshaun Watson? Do we have a block update? Yes, we're still blocked.
Yep.
Am I still blocked?
Block.
Okay.
Yep. Blocked.
All right. I think it's enough of our faces. I think we've been on here long enough.
Yeah, enough of our faces. I think we should just end on this screen instead. So, for Nick Madera and Nick Morrison, I'm Tom Alana. We'll see you next time for another edition of Empty the Bench. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.